When selling a home, there are a lot of variables that are outside of our control, and only three that relate directly to the home that we can influence. And when we control these variables just right and bring them into balance, we're able to hit that sweet spot, which is ultimately finding you the buyer that's going to pay you the most money for your home, give you the best terms and timeline, and be the most certain buyer to close the transaction once you actually go under contract. Those variables are number one, the price at which we list the house. Now, pricing is just half of our marketing strategy, nothing more. The second is the story of the home that we tell and how we distribute that story to all the buyers out there in the marketplace that might be the best buyer for the home. And ultimately, there are three facets to the story. One are the data fields, which basically helps buyers find the property in the listing once we have it out there in the marketplace and how we get in front of those buyers. Once they've found it, the photos and the visual imagery is what's going to tell most of the story for us. Then the third piece, which is the narrative description, is what's going to tie together everything buyers see in those photos and in that imagery. And ultimately, that sets an expectation for how your home is going to support their lifestyle wants and needs relative to all those others that are currently active at the same time. The final variable that we can control in a home sale is the property itself. And really, this also has three facets, only one of which we can control. The first of those three facets is the location, which we can't change. The second are the amenities of the home, like bedrooms, bathrooms, orientation on the lot, square footage, which we also can't control. But the third facet is the condition of the property and the experience buyers have when they show up. So the way they work, when we tell the right story and we've got the right price tag associated therewith, we call this our positioning in the marketplace. And this is how buyers decide what homes they want to see when looking at all of those that are available. When we position it properly, every buyer that might be the best buyer for the home, that'll give you the best price, terms, timeline, is going to see it and decide to come look at it in person. Now that sets an expectation. They interpret the story, they decide how the home will likely support their lifestyle wants and needs. And then when they show up in person, that expectation that was set is either going to be met, in which case we've got a reasonable chance of having one offer out of every 5 or 6 of those buyers whose expectations we met when they toured the home. Ideally, we'd like to exceed their expectations by just a little bit, in which case we're generally going to get an offer out of every 2 to 3 of those buyers who have seen the home and it exceeds their expectations. The third thing that can happen is that they might be disappointed by the home when they see it in person based on what they expected to see when they got there. Disappointed buyers don't buy homes. This is how buyers decide on their true perceived value of the property for how it's going to support all their lifestyle wants and needs. And that perceived value, we're going to call the bang. And how does the buyer of any commodity decide to buy a certain commodity or good? Well, they compare the bang for the bucks that are being asked for it, and they compare that bang for the buck of your home to all of the other homes that they see. And based on all of the homes they've seen, they're going to buy the one that offers them the most bang for the buck. So ultimately, there's only two ways we can position your property. One is to sell, the other is to sell your competition.